Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up, and you know they got him on the phone. Man, he was just talking. We was talking about old time shit. You know, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to.
Just when the story seemed to fade into the background, a new wave of online clips and fiery commentary music slammed the narrative back into the spotlight. But this time, things took an unexpected turn. Snoop Dogg found himself at the center of the storm. Posts flooded social media, and bold headlines screamed that Snoop was either under extreme pressure or possibly being protected, all because of sensitive material mysteriously left out of the documentary. Music. Some even took it a step further, throwing questions into the air. What exactly was Gone Deal hiding? What crucial secrets did 50 Cent's project choose to reveal or conveniently omit? And how has Snoop Dogg's public reaction played into this tangled web of controversy? We're about to dive deep and break down what's actually been verified, separating cold, hard facts from the wildfire of online speculation.
Check out this audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, you know, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, you know, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, you know, he also speaks on how, you know, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. It's downloading right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make themselves famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey over that, you know, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac going to everybody else. He brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these are dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop? What's up, Puff?
Hey, whoa, wait a minute, fellas here, hold on. You know, I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Real, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We never used your hand.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker that everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay, you know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion like, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. You know, we grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, you know, publicly with this because until things clear up. So I really know I could be certain that, you know, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, you know, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it. You didn't like it?
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, you know, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then I think it was weird. It was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressure them or like question Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean? No problem.
Snoop Dogg's name was nowhere to be found in official court records, no mention in formal filings, and certainly no reference in the federal case that led to Diddy's conviction. Yet, almost overnight, social media erupted music, drawing unexpected connections and tying Snoop to the heart of the controversy. This wasn't based on legal evidence, but on deep-rooted industry ties and past history. Snoop has been a monumental figure in hip-hop for decades music, crossing paths with Diddy and countless other major players during some of the genre's most tumultuous years. Following the documentary's release, Music, Gene Deal, Diddy's former security associate, became a regular presence in interviews and reaction videos. He subtly hinted that crucial details were left out of the final cut, suggesting that some figures in the industry may have felt uncomfortable. That small hint was enough to spark a firestorm of speculation online. Commentary channels seized the moment, boldly claiming that key footage was intentionally withheld, fearing the ramifications of exposing Snoop, a man whose influence stretches across both coasts of the hip-hop world. The public's focus quickly shifted to him. Then old video clips and archive interviews from Suge Knight resurfaced, stirring up even more chatter and fueling the growing storm.
Like I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from My Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door, doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with your? What's up with your Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that, where Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on him but I'm the type of person, I've never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes and if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem. I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like, he have the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie. He gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do. But it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like, man, I can't believe it.
This is where things get dangerously murky. When personal connections are presented as proof, the facts are left in the dust and suspicion runs wild. In times like these, the loudest voices are often the least trustworthy. Enter Sean Combs. The documentary was never meant to be a sweeping indictment of the entire music industry. Its focus remained laser-sharp on Diddy, following his meteoric rise through Bad Boy Records, the empire he built, and the unchecked systems that allowed his influenced music to spread like wildfire for years. The film zeroed in on first-hand accounts, exposing a disturbing pattern of control and exploitation. But at no point did it implicate Snoop Dogg in any criminal activities. There were no visuals, no concrete evidence linking him to any illegal conduct. The whispers claiming music that 50 Cent deliberately protected Snoop, they remain unsubstantiated. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has spoken out on the matter, clearing the air by stating that the project only included information that had been thoroughly verified and approved by his legal team.
Doing a documentary, thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started. Is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay,
has a relationship.
Netflix. I knew that
with
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there, but of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got. And what we'll do, we'll make it what it is because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like,
well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his?
No, but he didn't pay for it. So essentially, they're calling it a payment error. So essentially, the deal falls apart, or he's like, yeah, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this and they went to the filmers and said, hey, give us the footage.
If anything, music. The documentary took a measured approach in an era where sensational claims often grabbed the spotlight. The project was careful not to call out individuals unless their involvement was backed by concrete documentation or credible testimony. This caution is precisely why rumors about unreleased or hidden footage remain just that, rumors. No verified footage has ever surfaced. No legal records have ever mentioned Snoop Dogg, and no official investigations have placed him under scrutiny. In fact, Snoop himself publicly voiced his support for 50 Cent after the documentary aired. He shared messages of solidarity with Curtis Jackson, making it abundantly clear that there was no rift between them. This open show of support directly contradicts the narrative that Snoop was in fear of what might be revealed. When someone publicly stands by you, it's hard to argue that they're worried about what's lurking in the shadows.
And to look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right. This guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level. And this totally ties in with, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else, and really what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is in fact rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on Diddy's own terms.
One of the most frequently repeated claims traces back to Courtney Burgess, who insisted he was in possession of flash drives allegedly linked to Kim Porter. He claimed these drives held sensitive media involving some of the biggest names in the industry. From there, online commentators took matters into their own hands, music, with Snoop Dogg's name often dragged into the frenzy. But what's conspicuously absent from these discussions is the critical context. Kim Porter's children have publicly rejected any claims tied to materials supposedly connected to their mother. Federal agencies have not verified the contents of the flash drives, nor have they confirmed their relevance in any way. In legal circles, individuals shown in unverified materials are not automatically assumed to be wrongdoers. No authenticated records have ever identified Snoop Dogg music, and no confirmed media has ever been released. This is how false narratives are born. A suggestion gets twisted into a rumor. The rumor becomes a headline, and that headline hardens into an unshakable belief. Owning unverified material doesn't prove guilt. Courts depend on evidence, confirmation, and credibility, things that online commentary lacks. This is where reputations are tarnished without any semblance of due process. Claims that Snoop Dogg is reacting out of fear completely overlook the facts. There's no public record of questioning, no sign of an investigation, and no legal action tied to his name. As of December 2025, nothing official connects him to these allegations.
Because he wanted them to, both Suge and Pac.
In the car?
They only Pac, and they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right, Corey? He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000, and that money never went to Keefe or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying I got your rapper's chain. Because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing isn't recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob, featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it. It's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just going to start making y'all blank disappear. Man, first I'm going to take your records off the radio. Then I'm going to erase your social security number. Take your birth certificate out flies. I'm going to do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million, just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head, and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up?
Phrase.
I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac.
What an idiot.
Suge Knight has consistently leveled accusations against Snoop Dogg over the years, accusing him of betrayal and attempting to tie him to the tragic events surrounding Tupac Shakur's death. These explosive statements always seem to resurface when the music industry is under fresh scrutiny. But here's the truth. These claims are nothing new, and they have never been substantiated by any verified evidence. Knight has made these accusations from behind bars, often music, during interviews designed to stir the pot and capture attention, thanks to their provocative nature. Despite the ongoing chatter, Snoop Dogg has vehemently denied these allegations, calling them outright lies, driven by bitter rivalry and personal grudges. Most importantly, official investigations into Tupac Shakur's murder have never led to any charges or legal consequences for Snoop Dogg.
For being out there and allowing Misha to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never with her again, and I ain't never with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother. But have that
And had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation, Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, you know, Suge made Puff feel like I'm gonna get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason, he was mad at Puff. And Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It was no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I gotta get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone on behind it.
So what you mean about
online discussions have a dangerous way of turning repetition into proof. When a claim is echoed enough times, it starts to feel like truth, despite the complete lack of solid evidence. That mental shortcut is disturbingly effective, and it's one that many voices online exploit. But what's often lost in the noise is the crucial context. Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg's relationship shattered decades ago, tore apart by business disputes, personal grudges, and explosive public feuds that are well documented. Any statements made in such a volatile environment should be viewed with intense scrutiny, not blindly accepted. The mere act of repeating old accusations doesn't make them any more credible. It just amplifies the chaos surrounding them.
I don't know where you get all the extras from when they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean. But instead of just saying less, since I've been in here, Snoop and other people been having people trying to bail the guy out, Keefy D, because he talking too much. Raising them trying to do stuff for Puffy because they say he talking too much. They even had somebody talk to me and say, hey, you can help him get free. I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to nobody county jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life? Hell no. I ain't wishing bad on him at all, because I don't want to see nobody go to prison. And like I told you last time, since I find out more details about certain things, I probably would go to the Vegas County Jail if me and Keefy D with Sellies. We have a good conversation after I give him, 6 upside his head, another 6 in his body, and another 2. But yeah, that's different. It didn't happen with Snoop didn't go to the hospital. That's a lie.
One of the most widely circulated claims was that Snoop Dogg went silent after the documentary dropped. But When you actually take a moment to look closer, that narrative crumbles. Snoop didn't disappear. He stayed active online, posting about music, business, and notably offering public support for 50 Cent. The so-called silence was nothing more than a distorted story built on selective attention rather than actual facts. When people are invested in a narrative, they tend to ignore anything that contradicts it. Snoop didn't issue alarming statements, shut down his social media, or retreat from the spotlight. He kept running his empire, including his work with Death Row Records. While silence can sometimes be strategic, in this case, there was no silence, just a conscious decision not to engage with baseless rumors.
Just got out the gym, doing my workout box. Shit, you right. History would repeat itself. But nigga, you wasn't the only nigga in the room, nigga. You wasn't by yourself. There was other people in the room too. I'm not gonna say no names because, like you said, we don't talk. So why you on here talking? Let that go, man. And as far as Snoop and Corrupt writing my album, you ask them niggas that. Them niggas ain't wrote my album. Corrupt helped me with Do You See? Snoop helped me with This DJ. Other than that, everything else I wrote. So that's where you wrong at again. And as far as the tough guy, do you recall when we was at the World Club and it says Death Row and NWA? Who fired on that? Me. When you was at the Comedy Store, fighting that little buff ass at the Comedy Store, who saved your motherfucking ass? Me and C-Style. So what have I done to you? For you to launch out at me? Look, don't get mad at me, man. I ain't never done nothing to you. I wasn't signed to you. So
the key difference between Snoop Dogg and Diddy right now isn't fame, music. It's hard evidence. Diddy's conviction came after years of relentless investigation, testimony, and legal scrutiny. But Snoop's situation? That's built entirely on connections and speculation. As of December 2025, federal records show no charges, no indictments, and no ongoing investigations into Snoop Dogg. And that distinction is crucial. In a world where many high-profile figures are under microscope, silence from authorities isn't a shield. It's a reflection of a lack of proof. The music industry may be in turmoil, but that doesn't mean everyone caught in the storm is guilty. Blurring the lines between rumor and fact only weakens the truth when it matters the most.
In a documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figure most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day.
Perhaps. Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
So that doesn't mean it's not true. Of course. But they relied on stolen footage, okay, is what they relied on. And then they ask about the history of 50 and him, issue that they've had. What's the one you just pulled up, Rob?
This is where they talk about the feud, and then I also have 50 Cent talking about Diddy's reaction to the documentary.
Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But watch this one here. Go ahead, Rob.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that part, right? The fact that the feud with the two of them, hey, let me take you shopping. Like, you say that to a girl in 50s, like, what are you talking about? Take me shopping. How do you have a flipping mind? You want to take me shopping? And then last but not least, Rob, the other clip you have of 50 is talking about how he thinks Diddy's going to like this documentary. Go ahead, Rob.
Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
She can't even hold it.
Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth. I think he'll see.
Right now, Snoop Dogg is caught in the middle of one of the internet's most dangerous habits, turning uncertainty into accusation, old feuds into proof, and harmless speculation into raw fear. When you strip away the sensational headlines and reaction videos, the truth is chillingly clear. There's no verified footage. There are no charges. He hasn't vanished from the scene. The real story here isn't about Snoop's supposed panic. It's about how swiftly a narrative can take root when a major figure falls, and suddenly, everyone around them is a suspect by mere association. As the ripple effects of Diddy's case continue and more details unfold, the real question isn't who the internet will target next. The pressing question is whether the facts will ever rise above the noise, or the tide of speculation will continue to assign guilt long before the truth has its chance to surface.